Doctor Who is leaving BritBox. Kind of. Hello everyone, welcome back to another video where today we're going to be discussing something that I only really found out about recently. BritBox, according to various people, is removing Doctor Who, specifically from its Australian service. Now, I don't know whether this affects any other regions. As far as I can tell just now, it's just Australia. But what I wanted to do is use this as a springboard to kind of discuss the future of Doctor Who streaming, particularly when it comes to international rights, as when it comes to Britain, things are a little bit different. But before we get into it, if you could do me a teeny tiny little favour and click that subscribe button, it'd be very much appreciated. We are trying to get to 20,000 subscribers as quickly as possible, so any support would be greatly appreciated on that front. I also have a Ko-fi. In fact, I've set up a goal to try and help me get to Gallifrey 1, which is the big sort of LA convention next year, and I'd vlog it, and it'd be great fun. Obviously, it's a lot of money, and obviously, with being disabled, it costs more, so any support on that front would be appreciated, but of course you don't have to. But with that said, let's get into the video. For those of you who are uninitiated, BritBox started as a collaborative streaming service with ITV and BBC content, basically the home of British streaming content, hence BritBox. The BBC's interest in BritBox has waned in recent years, however, and ITV seems preoccupied with its ITVX service, so the future of BritBox in general has kind of somewhat been in dispute, and a lot of people mainly use it for things like classic Doctor Who. So yeah, I think it's important first to analyse what this means in the UK first, because the UK is a little bit different to the rest of the world. So as you know, it was announced fairly recently that Disney branded television was partnering with Doctor Who to stream the rights of Doctor Who internationally. That excludes the UK and, as far as I'm aware, Ireland as well, I believe. So basically, Doctor Who will remain on BBC and iPlayer in the UK. And in fact, Russell T Davies has stated that he wants to make the back catalogue of Doctor Who available all on iPlayer. We've already seen this start to happen with the return of Sarah Jane Adventures, as well as Torchwood and Class also being featured, with the only missing link now being Classic Who, which is held by BritBox. Now, the interesting thing about BritBox in the UK is that, as far as I'm aware, and this is how I kind of found out about it, ITVX is kind of merging BritBox into like one package. That's how I've done it, because I used to be a BritBox only subscriber, but then I found out that ITVX was going to have a deal where you could get both, so I subscribed to that so that way, you know, I was paying less for more stuff, or I was paying about the same, but for double the amount of content. But I think this will signal a sign that Doctor Who will eventually leave BritBox in the UK in favour of BBC iPlayer. I think it's just a matter of time before that happens. Obviously, that's just speculation on my front, but it seems fairly apparent that's probably what they'll do. And I believe this is likely to be the case in Australia in particular, because, obviously, as we said, they've announced that Doctor Who will be leaving BritBox soon in Australia. So the interesting thing about this is it, to me, implies that Doctor Who will be getting its back catalogue shared with Disney+, at least internationally. That's the most logical reason for this, given the partnership. Now, it's interesting that Australia's been selected first, because as we know, ABC previously had the rights to broadcast Doctor Who in Australia. However, due to the Disney Plus deal, they now do not have those rights. Therefore, Australian fans will now have to pay for Disney Plus to watch Doctor Who. And I think this is another sign of Australians, unfortunately, obviously, things being moved from BritBox to Disney Plus. I have to be honest, coming at it purely from a consumer perspective, Disney Plus is the better value proposition. I only really subscribe to BritBox for Doctor Who and certain classic British sitcoms that aren't available on BBC iPlayer. But if push came to shove and they announced that, oh, all of the classic library was coming to either Disney Plus internationally or BBC iPlayer in the UK, I probably would cancel my BritBox subscription. Something interesting I also thought was worth pointing out, that the Australian BritBox has both Classic Who and revived series Doctor Who, whereas in most regions, particularly the UK, BritBox only has the classic series of Doctor Who, as well as it previously did have Sarah Jane Adventures. I don't know whether it still does now, due to BBC iPlayer having Sarah Jane Adventures. I'm not sure how that works, but this could be a sign that the entire back catalogue of Doctor Who, both classic and revived series, will be made available on Disney Plus internationally, alongside any new episode, which is already the case in Australia. Obviously, as I said, for new episodes, you would have to go to Disney Plus internationally, including Australia, rather than the previous ABC. Another interesting question is, how will this affect the rest of the world? As far as we're aware, the American side of BritBox has made no such official announcements. However, with the ending of BBC America streaming Doctor Who, it kind of signifies, to me at least, that this is going to be an international thing, and Doctor Who will probably leave BritBox all around the world for Disney Plus, whereas in the UK, it will become a BBC iPlayer exclusive, which is great for UK residents if you already pay a TV license, so you basically got the entire classic library at your fingertips, which seems to be the goal. However, I will say I do sympathise with some people internationally who either do not want a Disney Plus subscription for whatever reason, or cannot afford the subscription, who are now forced to basically use this as their option for their Doctor Who streaming. However, I suppose, as I say, I do think Disney Plus is the better value proposition internationally, because you get access to things like Marvel, Star Wars, the entire Disney back catalogue. It is just a better overall deal. You get like things like Fox as well, because Disney now owns Fox as well. But yeah, it's a very interesting thing, and obviously I realise that parts of this video have been somewhat speculative. Obviously I don't know 100% that everything is going to Disney Plus internationally, but that does seem to be the direction things are going, with BBC America obviously not really being a thing when it comes to Doctor Who streaming anymore, and now with the classic library leaving BritBox in Australia, it kind of seems to me like they are gearing up for everything to be on Disney Plus internationally. But that's just how I see it. But if you see it any differently, let me know in the comments below. I'd be really interested to hear your feedback. If I got anything wrong in this video, I'm going to try and fact check everything. But obviously I'm not an expert when it comes to streaming rights and international rights and, you know, the differences between BritBox and iPlayer and Disney Plus. So if you have any more knowledge on that than I do, feel free to leave it in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and I will see you later.